Have you ever wondered how to sell your products and services on Amazon? If so, listen in as Ann Saig shares how to find existing products that you can sell fast for a good profit, being an Amazon third-party seller.
Welcome to this week's episode of Biz Success in 15, where top experts share hot tips and strategies that you can implement in as little as 15 minutes to build your dream business. And now here's your host, the Visibility Wiz, Cindy J.
Hi, I'm Cindy J, the Visibility Wiz, and welcome to this episode of Biz Success in 15. Our guest today is Ann Saig, and she's the founder of the Ecommerce Business School, a training and mentorship platform designed to get members into the fastest path to financial success. She teaches this through 3 pillars of e-commerce success, and her vision is to help over 1,000 people generate $10,000 a month in revenue or more. Welcome, Ann. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. Great to be here, Cindy.
And to begin with, Ann, I love the 3 pillars of e-commerce success. So can you share what that is?
Yeah, definitely. Number 1 is to generate cash flow. Cash flow is often the biggest problem in a business, is just being able to sustain your business without leaning into your personal finances. Mm-hmm. Number 2 is to automate systems, and systems that you can leverage so that they do some of the work for you so that you can be more ready to scale your business. And lastly is to build assets, and assets are things that you can sell that have value in the marketplace. So generate cash flow, automate systems, and build assets are our 3 pillars of e-commerce success.
Mm-hmm. And can you walk us through, like if you have a new client coming, how would you help them with these different steps?
Definitely. So this is primarily, we focus on becoming a third-party seller of Amazon. So we leverage that platform with all their traffic and all their customers. So they're not having to build sales funnels like they would with the Shopify store, and being responsible to drive traffic to their own website, which we had an earlier conversation about traffic and all. It's a whole nother piece to master. So we leverage Amazon. And with that, there's a number of different sourcing methods. And each method brings its own pros and cons or challenges. So we start people with one of what I believe is the fastest and easiest sourcing method to cash flow, and that's arbitrage. So we teach local retail arbitrage, we teach online arbitrage. And basically, arbitrage means to tap into existing products that are already known to be selling fast and are profitable. In other words, you don't want to tie up capital into products that just sit on a shelf and you're waiting 9 months down the road to get your money back. So we're looking for fast-selling, profitable products. We do that through arbitrage. Once they master the arbitrage method, there they are with their nice cash flow foundation of having that moving, and we integrate automation into that through systems. And we also bring in VAs, virtual assistants, who do the work for you so that that business can then run automatically for you. So with retail arbitrage. From there, then you can go on to more advanced sourcing methods that the error for, or I should say the margin for error becomes greater. So for example, private label. There's a bigger margin for error. If you get that thing wrong and you've invested into a container full, to come from China or wherever, and you miss the mark and it doesn't sell, that's a higher error for risk right there. So this is why we start people at the arbitrage. You're generating the cash flow. We teach systems, software tools that we have, and we teach people to get in VAs right away so that when they get to the more advanced methods, they actually have more knowledge under their belt, more experience, and they have cash flow coming in. So it's much more risk-free at that level.
So when people are selling things on Amazon, a couple of my questions are, number 1, it seems like Amazon, there's so many people out there that you're really, how do you even compete with other sellers selling similar products? And does this work also for, let's say, the person that goes and buys all this stuff at yard sales and wants to resell it?
I'll answer the yard sale one. That's problematic because unless it's new stuff, and sometimes you see that at yard sales, but not very often. Mm-hmm. So eBay is a different seller's platform where, yes, you can have used shoes and this and that. With Amazon, there is some of that, but through the third-party seller platform and specifically Fulfillment by Amazon, it's got to be new products. So that part doesn't work. I'm trying to remember. The first part was about, help me out.
The competition.
The competition. Okay.
Yeah.
So there are a number of variables that you have to be keenly aware of, and that one is a big one. So when you do local retail arbitrage, there's an app on your phone. It's called, that you get through the App Store. It's called the Amazon Seller app. It's free. Amazon created it. So you download that app, and what it allows you to do is with the camera on your phone, you scan a UPC code. So let's see, does this here, I'll pull up this. So this little product has a UPC code, right? And so when you scan it, it's going to pick up that product and look for it in the Amazon database. You know, is this in fact being sold on Amazon? And then it's going to bring up all the data points. And one of the data points is how many other FBA sellers are there? And you want to know specifically, you can do merchant fulfilled or fulfillment by Amazon. We primarily teach FBA, which means you as the seller are responsible to get the products into their Amazon warehouse, and then they ship it out. The reason that one is so powerful and it puts you in a favored status is because prime buyers. And I'm going to guess you're a prime buyer. 2/3 of American households have a prime buyer. And so we are what drives Amazon's machine are the prime buyers. They buy almost twice as much, and they like the 2 free days shipping. So when we sell through FBA, our stuff is in the Amazon warehouse, and that's what the FBA sellers see. They see our products. So on the phone, you're going to see, oh, 2 sellers, you're golden. Oh, 92 FBA sellers, avoid it. So you have that data point in advance. Now, can it change? Yes. But on the whole, that's what you gauge it by at the time you're making that decision to buy a product and send it into Amazon.
And, you know, then again, if you have somebody who's brand new and they're like, wow, you know, this really sounds like something that I would want to get into, and I don't have any of my own products, but I have an idea of what type of products I want to sell, how can they even go about finding these products? Do you help people find the products that they want to sell?
Yes, very much so. And what's really important is while people may have an idea of a product they think will sell, it's best to start off with what is selling. And it's through that, there's a pretty cool process that when you discover what is selling, I'll give you a little example. I was selling a lot of these Disney dive sticks. I didn't even know such a product existed, but a dive stick is for little kids in the swimming pool, and they throw the stick and then it sinks to the bottom, and then they have to swim down, and it's so fun to go and retrieve and come up with a little mermaid dive stick, you know, and they were just selling like crazy. So I thought, well, first of all, man, I want to go and wholesale those. I had sourced them from Target when they were on clearance, and they just went like liquid gold. They just landed in the warehouse and they were gone. I'm like, who would have known, you know, although I had the data on my phone. But what a person could do is you go, wow, dive sticks are really popular. Maybe I'll create my own brand. And see, I wouldn't want to create a product unless I already had proof of concept, because it's very high risk. Well, I just think this is the coolest idea and people are going to love it. Well, until you get what's called proof of concept, it's really kind of guesswork. And I'm really big in business is get your proof of concept before you go big. So that would be a great way to do that is when you're doing arbitrage, you can find those hot products or that type of product that's selling, and you create it different and with a different brand. And you're going to leverage all those keywords all over again.
Okay. Very, very interesting. And before we talk a little bit more even about how to successfully sell, and we've been talking a lot about how to successfully sell them, and in a few minutes I'd love to give us some more tips about getting into that business. But before that, can you please describe a personal or business challenge that you had to overcome in order to achieve your level of success?
Well, I had seen that with the question that you sent, and I thought, man, there's a long trail of tears here. Which one do I choose? I could have gone with the Google Ad Slap one is probably one of the absolute biggest challenges. But I decided, I thought, you know what? There's a personal challenge I had. And for me, it spoke to my level of determination and tenacity.
Mhm.
So this was back when I was working with my eldest son, and he had sponsored me into a company, and we were doing this locally. And we both shifted online kind of with two different paths. And then, and he was learning Google AdWords and affiliate marketing, copywriting, and I was learning consultative selling, and we brought our paths together. And we're doing really well. We went from $2,000 to $90,000 in a 3-month stint, selling someone else's product. And then we went on to create our own products. But I had this bad stomach ache and such. And my husband at that time, because we were going through this growth phase and we hadn't transitioned yet, he was holding down 2 jobs. Because we had lost our windshield business. We had an auto glass replacement in business for 12 years. A new law came out, wiped out our business. So like I say, there's I can choose from a lot of different challenges along the way. Anyway, so I had all this pain, and I'm like, seriously, I just have so much work to do. His friend said, you should really go and get that checked in. I'm like, I don't have time for this. This is gonna go away. It must be food poisoning. It got worse. Finally, I had my son take me to the doctor because my husband was working double shifts. And he said, your white blood cell is off the charts. You need to go straight down to ER. And for some reason, I just didn't feel scared. I don't know how to account for it, but they admitted me the next day. There's the doctor, and it was my sister's classmate. And she says, you might have colon cancer. And I was like, that is insane.
Right.
I reached over, grabbed her arm, and I said, I don't have cancer. And they did do emergency surgery, and they did remove something, but I didn't have colon cancer. Furthermore, I had to keep going. And I told my son and my husband, I'm recovering. I said, can you grab this paperwork and this paperwork and this paperwork? In my mind, I just had to keep trucking. Mm-hmm. We were in growth mode, and along came this interruption. And it is uncanny when you have that sense. It doesn't happen a lot in life, because like when I got my Google AdWords slap, it was very visceral. My stomach fell to the floor. With this one, I just said, no, I don't have cancer. I don't to this day know how to explain that. I just knew in my mind, I don't have cancer. Mm-hmm. Like, move on. We got a lot of work to do here. So I just share that because I did keep working in the hospital. Now, some people might think that's kind of nuts, but I overall felt okay, mm-hmm. other than that pain, but the pain was taken care of. Body part taken out is female related, all right? And I just kept right on trucking.
So much of that, I think, too, oftentimes when things happen, people will use it as an excuse to stop or halt their progress.
Absolutely.
Or their business. And regardless what challenge you're going through, it's taking care of yourself first. And I'm sure that you did this. It wasn't like you were working 20-hour days. It was like, hey, I'll nap for an hour, I'll work for an hour. I'll nap for an hour, I'll work for an hour. And it's putting, it's really deciding that whenever you're doing stuff, because when we're sick, and I've been very ill myself in the past too, I know that you are sick and you have to take care of yourself first, but it's not a reason not to move forward, because even when you're sick, you're doing something. If you're watching TV, you can play on your laptop and you can look at financials, and you can be creative. You can talk to people. You can network. There's so many things you can do whenever you're not feeling well, because we have those periods of not feeling well, feeling better, not feeling well, feeling better.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I love that story, and thank you very, very, very much for sharing it with us, because I think, over the last few months, we have developed this different world. And I know so many people are still waiting to see what's happening in our future, but we're never going to know our future. We're never going to know, per se, being sick or something happening bad in our personal lives. But it's keep going when you can. One of my I was working. I was a coach. A lot of people were surprised, but I'm like, I'm like, I can do both. My son in 2015 broke his neck. He recovered 100%. However, I had to move to Phoenix for like 9 months to take care of him.
Yeah.
But I kept my business going through this time.
Right.
Because my son wasn't requiring me 24/7. And so I
Right.
could still, but it was nice that I worked from home, that I could be there to take care of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I had a similar thing. My son wiped out on a crotch rocket and he had to move back in. And I took care of him for 6 weeks, bandaging. It was pretty gross, road rash. And it was at that time shortly after that, the growth of our business. And I was on the phone consulting and there's my son and I had to bandage him. And so you work with the flow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's it. And so let's move back to Amazon. I think this is such a cool topic. As entrepreneurs, sometimes we are trying to sell other people's stuff, or we just don't know, number one, even where to find physical products or how to sell them on Amazon. Or we think it's, take some secret sauce to do it. So what are like some steps or tips to start to successfully sell the physical products on Amazon?
Yeah. Well, again, I'm going to reference the arbitrage method because it has such an extremely high level of predictability. And I think that's what holds people back but how do I know it's going to sell? Right. Which is the right question to be asking. And so it is I recommend local retail arbitrage. Now, at the time of this recording, it's a unique time in history. At the time of this recording, people are encouraged to stay away from stores. Right. But typically I start them with local retail arbitrage. And this is what it looks like. You have the app on your phone. You go to Walmart. You go to Walgreens. You go to Dollar Tree, Dollar General, and you scan Target. Okay. You're scanning with your phone. And we teach people the data points. So you're going to want to know the profit margin. And that is displayed, by the way. It's a lot of people, they're like, they think there's a gotcha on this. There's no gotcha. All the data points are there. The shipping is there because they're like, what about shipping? You know the shipping in advance as well. So it's all displayed there for you. And then you make your buying decision right then and there in the store. So I'll give you an example. So I'm 9 miles from downtown Bentonville, which is the home of Walmart. So I'm at the Bentonville, the Walmart right across from the home office, and it's the back to school season. So I go to this back to school section, which is huge at that time in August, right? I mean, it's huge. And the profit margins were ridiculously high. And so so I'm scanning and the profit, so 3-ring binders were like a $7 profit. And so, all righty, I'll get 20 of them. So 20 times 7 is $140. Oh, there's another 3-ring binder. This one's at $5 profit. I'll take $5 profit. Typically, our sellers get around 32% profit, which is insane. Because the alternative is you leave your dollar sitting in the bank and you earn 1%. So the whole concept of arbitrage is making your money gain velocity and return on what you're investing in. It's about speed. How fast can you flip that money around and reinvest and reinvest and reinvest? So case is, again, we started with $200. And after 5 months, it had grown to $36,000 in sales. Just by taking that one profit, funneling it in, and you're just basically snowballing. All right, so you're scanning these products and you're determining these data points for which, here, let me hold it up. I got it in reach here. We have this little card. And this little card is the category rank. And the rank of each department is different. So typically you want to get products that are ranked in the top 1%. It means they're selling fast. And the app will also show how many other sellers there are. Like I said earlier, if it's only 2, shoot, go for it. If there's 90, and sometimes there aren't twice, you don't touch it because you have a lot of competition and you don't want competition. So anyways, you buy your product and then you're going to ship it into Amazon per their requirements and you send it to one of their warehouses. And they'll tell you, and you don't get to choose, oh, but it's just a mile down the road. Can I drop it off there? No, you have to ship it in per their requirements. And then Amazon takes in their whole gigantic sales machine. They do everything. customer support, returns, the shipping it out, all the rest. So your job is just getting products in, and then you do have to manage your store. Like
Right.
you'll want to know that's selling out, and you'll know because you get dinged on your phone, bing, oh my gosh, it already sold. You know, it's addicting. It is addicting. Amazon just hired 100,000 people.
Right.
And they just announced they're hiring another 70,000 people. Now, here's the curious thing about that is they've just escalated things, you know, because of the climate and what's going on. But that's going to continue because people will get acclimated into buying on Amazon.
Right.
And so it's good news for the sellers. So they're experiencing mammoth growth. So I hope what I detailed, that's the simplest. And then we also have an online arbitrage, which is our free gift that people will be able to check out at the end. And that's doing it all from home.
The scanning code, because he's buying it online. There's a couple places he goes to online that he gets really good deals at.
Yeah.
And so he wouldn't want to buy them beforehand.
Right.
But how do you get the code if you don't have the actual product?
Well, one, you can scan with your phone online. You can just hold it up and scan the UPC. Some sites show the UPC code, so there's that.
Okay.
But also, we have a special software tool. It's an online arbitrage research tool, and it's you put in the data points, and it's going to indicate with the whole formulas. This has been built out over years, literally.
Mm-hmm.
And when you put in all the necessary data points, including shipping, because if it's big and bulky, it's going to up your shipping cost, which affects your profits. But it's going to show up yellow, red, yellow, or green, based on you want to be measuring the profit and return on investment. So that if it's all green, you go, great. So that's what you would do for online. That's what we teach our people, is using that arbitrage tool. So if your husband's really great at that, then you just input the data and, oh man, it's all green. I'm going to order them. So
right. Very, very interesting. Interesting stuff. And I could probably talk about this for hours, but since we're limited on time here, I would like to ask you, Anne, if you could share a business strategy that entrepreneurs can implement in 15 minutes or less to build their business.
Well, I am, because I manage a team, I manage a lot of projects, so I need to be very, very judicious with my time. And so I'm going to share those things, these tips and strategies, which is me having a team for the last, since 2005, I've had an online team. So I'll just run through it really quickly, is the routines that I follow that have led to a high level of productivity. And what works for some people doesn't work for others. So the biggest one that I use is I plan the night before, and I schedule everything out. I bought this at Walmart. It's my favorite planner. And I know there's a lot of online stuff, but when it comes to this, I'm just more engaged on a mental level when I do it written. I'm a notebook person like you. I love notebooks, and I'm not letting go of them. By golly, I'm going to keep writing in them. But all to say, so I plan the night before, and it's very organized. And I do something called estimated time. Because as a business owner, our finesse is our ability to give proper projections for how long something will take. It's kind of like, well, remodel for the kitchen. It'll cost about this much. Whoops. And it's how much more, that kind of a thing. So to me, that is a very high level skill set within business, is scope a project and what does it really take? So for me, I'm always, okay, I've got emails to write, okay, estimated length of time. And so my skill there is, how accurate am I? Man, why did that get gunked up? I thought I'd have that done in 15 minutes. And so it's me learning how to be very judicious with my time, because that's the only thing we can't get more of. So I really try to be an expert at my organizational skills and abilities. So it's planning the night before, estimated time. And then the measure of our success as a business owner is our productivity and profits, right? Mm-hmm. And so I consider myself, while I do manage a fairly large team, I have to become a producer. So my favorite tool of all, it looks like this. And so when I have my task and I've set estimated time, basically I work in sprints. So I'm the main marketer and copywriter for the entire team. So I set it's typically 30 minutes. And my level of productivity is so much higher when I know, okay, you're in a sprint, girl. You got 30 minutes. Oh, and by the way, your treat is when you're done, and I like physical fitness, so I go out in the living room and do some push-ups or whatever, just to keep the blood flowing and not be sitting on my butt all day. But I set the timer, and my team knows my phone is my boss. So everyone's got a boss, and when you're the CEO, you got to fire yourself if you're not happy with your performance. So that's just how I get very dialed in. Now, I was in the sport of gymnastics. I was a coach for 15 years prior to my online career. And that's what I did with them, is I would gauge their productivity. Okay, handstand push-ups, go. And that was power is speed over time. And so that's how I see my business, is how can I do quality work and just get a lot done quickly? Because at the end of the day, I have to produce a lot. So that's my tips on how to be very wise with your time and become a high producer.
Now, when somebody's first starting, I absolutely love that tip. Whenever somebody's first starting out, though, because sometimes we think that something's going to take us an hour, but it takes us 3 hours, or we think something's going to take us 3 hours and it takes us 10 minutes. So how much leeway should somebody give themselves when they're estimating their time?
Well, I do want to preface and say, because I have coached brand new beginner people, that it's okay if you're way off. You don't know what you don't know. It's like setting up your quarterly goals. You set them up, you go through your quarter one, and you go, wow, I really missed the mark on that one. It's okay, but at least it's a skill that you're developing over time, that you put your mind on alertness to be even mindful that you should be assizing how long a project takes, because how are you going to do when you're hiring someone and you don't even know how long it takes to do XYZ? And how would you be able to go, well, what's taking them so long if you haven't been able to, determine that for yourself? So I don't do it as, sometimes I'm way off. I'm just way off, and I've been doing online for 15 years. So it's not to get so hung up on why you didn't meet the exact expectations. It's more to reflect on, wow, well, that one, I didn't know I was going to run into all those tech issues, or, those kind of things. But, at the end of the day, and I had heard someone, I don't remember in all my years of training and whatnot, someone had said, to be in businesses, you have to be a good project manager. I mean, you're managing a lot of projects, right? I know, because we talk. And that's business, especially when you have a team, because they're all managing projects. So we've got to know how to manage projects. But so I don't get really hung up on it, other than the fact of just to reflect, well, that was interesting. That took a lot longer.
Or a lot shorter.
We like it best when they're a lot shorter. Then I go, scribble, I'm this cross it out lady. That's kind of fun.
Right. Thank you. I absolutely love that tip. And I know, Anne, you have a wonderful gift for us. Can you share what it is?
Yes, 5 steps to Amazon retail arbitrage. So we have talked that through in the local retail as well as online. So if that idea intrigues you, this is very thorough, comprehensive overview. I mean, I'm going to say it's about 2.5 hours actually. So it's a very generous free gift. But what I love about it is you'll know what it's about. Mm-hmm. So rather than jumping into something that just sounds great and awesome, with this, you really get a very thorough educational overview. So you can make a better informed decision instead of getting in and going, what was I thinking? Right. So this is really quite pretty extensive. We've had several thousand people go through and they love it. Yeah.
Well, thank you. That's such a generous gift. Thank you, Anne.
You're welcome.
And to our listeners, you want to head on over to bizsuccessin15.com/Anne Sieg. And that's biz, B-I-Z, success, N-I-N, 1515.com/Anne Sieg, all lowercase, A-N-N-S-I-E-G. And you'll be able to grab Anne's gift to you, the 5 steps to Amazon retail arbitrage. And Anne, do you have any parting words for us?
I just love business owners. my heart goes, I have a real heart for business owners because my husband and I have done numerous businesses for 30 years. And I love the entrepreneurial spirit, and I support people in that endeavor. There's a common bond amongst us because we're kind of fighters, and we're also creative types. You have to be a fighter because you're the one who fights for your business, but it's also that creative process and love and passion that you have within your business. Is so on my end, I just want to edify people and give a high five for your decision to be a business owner. It's a noble and praiseworthy endeavor, and don't let anybody ever have you think otherwise, because to me it's a highly esteemed cultural contribution that we create jobs. To me there's almost no finer thing than to create jobs and bring value into the marketplace. So I mostly just want to edify folks in their journey.
Okay, thank you very much. That's fantastic parting words. And thank you, Ann. It's been a pleasure having you as my guest today.
Thank you. My pleasure.
And to our guests, if you enjoyed today's show, feel free to share it with your friends. And you'll want to hop on over to bizsuccessin15.com/Ann, where you'll find all links from today's show. You'll be able to re-listen to Ann's words of wisdom, catch up on past episodes that you might have missed. And while you're there, be sure to grab Ann's gift to you, the 5 Steps to Amazon Retail Arbitrage. So be sure to tune in next week with another great guest. Big hugs.
In 15.com. Thanks so much for listening, and be sure to tune in next week for another amazing guest.